Yeah, hello. Good morning. My name is Rodolfo Sarinan from SAFI. We are also a social enterprise. I would like to direct my question to Mr. Ahmad. Yes. Yes. You mentioned a while ago that you were able to reduce poverty by 43%. I would like to ask, how was this measured? Was this based on a certain threshold of poverty in Indonesia? How did you measure this to arrive at the 43%? Thank you.
After we running 2 and 3 years program, we hire one university in Indonesia, IPB in Bogor area, to make research for evaluating our program. And they research conclusion, our program can reduce depth of poverty from the beneficiaries until 43%. But for depth of poverty is composition is combination from economic aspect and non-economic aspect. For non-economic aspect like mentality, awareness for self-reliance, and then ethos for work, and etc. And makes improving income until 28% from before the program and after the program. This is the conclusion from research from our partner from university.
Good morning, I am Apo Tabigit from Mindanao, and I would like to address this question to Mr. Wilas Tuitkul. I am amazed with the experience of PDA regarding the generation of internal capital through social entrepreneurship, which recently have said that around 60% to 70% of your costs come from those enterprises. So my question is, you were able to organize the business through affiliates in order for your businesses to get free taxes from the government. So I suppose these affiliates have shareholders, and that you have said that the profits should not be redistributed as dividends, but rather put to reserves. So, what is the capital structure aside from the shareholders? The capital structure at the same time the incentives of the shareholders. Thank you.
The profits from the companies should be kept in the reserve funds, not for the reserves. For the reserve fund, the reserve funds is available to use for social activities by the association. So the shareholders, they put the capital investment. They didn't get any dividend. The dividend donated to the charity through association. That is our model. So in each year, we need a budget for social activities is around $5 million. So it's a 70% of the budget came from our business. Another 40% is maybe from some company donate that support us, the other income.
Yeah, because I am interested because you cannot easily find investors wherein you will not charge the cost of money. So, for instance, here in the Philippines, but in our organization, for instance, we mobilize local resources, but we guarantee a certain return on investment. Thank you.
So it is a little bit difficult to encourage general people who are not in our field to put the money as an investor. Unfortunately, in my organizations, most of the senior officers, we would like to see the association to be sustained forever. So they put some money as an investor. There are a few people outside of our association willing to donate some money as an investment. So I agree with you. If you contact with the general people who are not in the same field, for what will do they get benefit? So it's a little difficult. Once I hope if we have a social enterprise law, it will be benefit for them if they would like to be an investor and would like to donate or would like to participate in the social activities and they get some benefits, even in kind or in another form of benefits. So that is why we are trying to push social enterprise law exists. Especially in Thailand, for the company, they have to pay tax 30% of their net income. It's a little bit high. So there are many of them having two financial two accounts to minimize the profit. If they have less profit, it means that they pay less tax. Right? So by hiding this, the profit, why we take it up into the table and make sure that if you are a social enterprise, you help the underprivileged people, you get you pay a little bit less tax. And those tax will be indirectly helping the underprivileged people.
Next question.
Good morning, I am Wu Yang-jo from Korea, and I'm doing a project in the Philippines. Actually, urban poor are relocated out of Manila because of demolition or disaster or flooding. But there is no job. That's why we are running the project and then we are operating the social enterprise in the relocated area. We are operating sewing center now. But now we are looking for the disengagement phases in our social enterprise. But as a project staff, I'm hesitating what is the criteria is good, proper timing for the disengagement. Mr. Ahmad said about the step for the disengagement or implementation. So can you, based on your experience in your organization, can you give an idea for that? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for your question. in our experience for level engagement, yeah, they must have three criteria. Yeah. The first is individual self-reliant, because the group is part of born from the members, the beneficiaries. The individual must be self-reliant. What is the self-reliant for individual? Like mentality to self-reliant, working ethos, yeah, ethos to work, like that. And the second is we call in Indonesia kesatu paduan, kohesivitas from the group, like group cohesion, yeah, group cohesion. This is the second criteria, like going to meeting group, and how the structure of organization, how to distribute the activities in the group, like that. And the third is we call it self-reliant business, because the groups can mix the business activity with the cooperative structure, cooperative organization. And in the cooperative, we must arrange to get and to mix self-reliant business, like how the productivity, how the profit, how the marketing, and last how the health finance in the cooperative. Like I said, this is there is a three criteria. Yeah.
Can I add something?
Yes, Dr. Kanay.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, because remember Dr. Kim Jae-gu, he was talking about ODA for social enterprise in Korea, and they're supporting social enterprise development by training young people from South Korea to go to developing countries to help set up social enterprises. An example of that project is the camp project in Bulacan. So I just wanted to mention that, because I think we need to see how these things interrelate. And I think Ms. Yang, we invited her here because I think she has many questions about how to set up sustainable social enterprises and how to make communities that they're assisting sustainable. And I think she has learned a lot from the discussion this morning. So this is the learning exchange that we are talking about in the Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia, as well as the network that we are building in Asia.
Thank you. Our colleague from PBST.
Good morning. My name is Nasmin Gutierrez from PBST. I'd like to direct this question to both Dr. Tuwapa and PDA. Both organizations are known to us and we've been following their progress since way back in like 2000. Both organizations are already successful and have achieved scale and impact in their respective work. So the question is, what are the challenges that you still see in your organization or risk, and how are you going to address this? Because this is going to be very insightful for all STs here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a challenge for me. Because it's a social enterprise, as I mentioned earlier, in Thailand we can have a law exist. We face some problems for claiming as a social enterprise. So, no any clear definition of a social enterprise. So we try to define which one is a real social enterprise. There are several organizations working in the rural areas and they claim that they are social enterprise. But in the realities of that nature of services, they exploit from the villagers. So it is a challenge for us to learn from the others. Like I mentioned, that Korea had a social enterprise law exists for 4 years ago. Vietnam just passed on the cabinet like yesterday. Philippines, I think it's still in the process, but it's a little bit advanced from Thailand. So these information and lesson learned from the previous countries would be foundation for developing social enterprise role in Thailand. And we hope that once it exists, so we can define between the company who run a purely business and social enterprise that can be benefit to the social, to the people more than serving to the investor, shareholder only. That's our challenge. Like PBSB, you already helping linkaging between the companies and the communities, like for many years. But at PDA doing more or less the same. But at PDA we have more staff working in the rural areas. So once they have a company support us, we implement the project by our own. It's not they do not need to be our members, but this is during case by case on a project basis. This year they support us, maybe next year they didn't support. So it's the uncertainty of the continuity of the projects. That is why we try to set up our own resources to make sure that we can run the project smoothly without any difficulties.
Challenges now is how to maintain charity orientation and business orientation. In the fact, our organization came from charity organization, but now our organization running as charity organization as well as business orientation. Business organization. We must maintain how the business orientation just as for make profit and income for our organization, but the highest of our orientation, our objective is to support, to need the poor people or the needy. This is we must maintain to our organization, because our social enterprise unit is more in time. How to make this organization is still orientation to serve the poor people and the needy in Indonesia. This is our challenges now.
Another successful.
I think I like to share the experiences of Dinas Wadaya related to the combining business and the social activities. Our organization is NGO-based organizations, And Indonesia has a lot of organizations like this. And many NGOs are very much based on the donation mechanism for their activities. During the 80s, Bina Swadaya started with more beside social, then start with the business. And then we were blamed by so many NGOs in Indonesia that it is not good an NGO is doing business. So this is a real challenge to keep that our mission is a social mission, and our need to business not only to help the people but also to sustain our services to the needy. And this is become a kind of a new approach that later our friends, our fellow NGOs feel that yes, you are right, but we are too late now. I think this is a new era in Indonesia, that kind of social entrepreneurship should be promoted. And it should be started from the young people, from the students. And we are cooperating with universities to conduct a program for social entrepreneurship graduate, something like that. And some universities is doing this. And also with the this promotion from the banking institution for social, corporate social responsibilities and from some companies, and it's grows. When we ask whether it is now in Indonesia, that's the time to go into the bill or laws in social entrepreneurship. I think it's too early. Because, for example, when we strive for microfinance institution bill, it's talk about 13 years I was really a fight for it. But when it comes into the realization, we are very worried about the result. It is not according to what we are thinking. Partly because our government, our parliament is not yet ready to understand about what we are doing. So I think we feel that it is necessary our togetherness among the social entrepreneurship in Indonesia, work together and also trying to make other sectors, government, parliament, etc. Knows about this, and then gradually we goes into field promotion. So this is, I think, the challenge in Indonesia and the process that we are facing.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for your organization as I have chance to meet. My name is Phương Nguyễn Linh. I'm from Vietnam, and my organization is Social Policy Ecology Research Institute. And I have a question to Mr. Park Bambam and Mr. Winas Pidel, please. Because we are 20 years old NGO now in Vietnam, and I am very happy because this morning I heard from my friend, Mrs. Wang, because the law, social enterprise law, just passed in Vietnam. So my question is that, could you please share with me about the risk culture control and the risk management of my organization when we like to change from the nature, very traditional NGO to social enterprise? Because we are 20 years already and we have 50 staff. So what is your practical lesson learned that can help us to choose the smart way to change from the traditional NGO to social enterprise? Because I learned a lot from your just sharing from Mr. Park Bambam, is that we should think very carefully, otherwise we are too late. I don't like that our NGO in Vietnam is too late to change from NGO to the social enterprise. Because we don't play in the same market. So we have to be aware and we have enough capacity to compete and to live together with other partners in society. So please, I'd like to learn more from you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, excuse me, that follow Ms. Fung, I also have one small correction and also the question to the panel. So in the morning, I is very happy to share with you all here that, that yesterday is a kind of milestone for social enterprise in Vietnam when we have our government, our parliament actually passed the law on enterprise. And in the law, there is a particular part for the social enterprise. So it's the first time for the country of Vietnam, the social enterprise was officially recognized and put on the law. And following the law, we still have a lot of things to do to develop a lot of policy, strategy, program for implementation. So that is to share with you. And thank you. That's a great news during this event, so we can have happily to share with you. And so my question to the panel. Okay, so given I can imagine that it would be like a new area for the social enterprise and also the NGO in Vietnam when the law was passed. But from my experience working with many CSO and NGO in Vietnam so far, many are still quite skeptical about the business model and about the success of the NGOs when they are adopting the social entrepreneurship approach. So I'm not so sure in the situation in Philippines, which is we all know that Philippines is number of the NGOs huge in comparison with Vietnam. So in Philippines, Indonesia, or even in Thailand, so what is the NGO perception about the social enterprise and what are the possibility for collaboration and for the transforming, or adapting social entrepreneurship into the NGO practice so far? I hope I can learn more from you. Thank you.
Parang may learner.
I like to share experiences in Pinaswadaya when we go into this kind of more searching through business orientation. Start with microfinancing. Formally, we promote self-help groups in the rural area, and our cadre are the best among the teachers. So local teachers are the best promoter for this kind of promotion of self-help groups. Later on, the self-help group is organizing, mobilizing saving among the members and give credit back to members. So the self-help group is becoming a kind of microfinance institution at the local level. Later, these self-help groups saving need more capital for giving credit. And for this reason, Dinas Swadaya is mobilizing resources in order we can tap up to the local self-help groups. And now we find difficulties. The difficulties is our figure, who are teachers at the local level, they don't feel that it has to, get the repayment from the people. And this is, I think, very normal development. That kind of increasing activities is necessary the preparedness of the team to understand, to grasp the development. It has taken some time in order we really have to that. If you really get the idea and the team are supportive, then creativity will come automatically almost, because interaction among the member of the team, then always very good to get what is the opportunity that can be grasped. So the normal challenge should be also anticipated, and based on that you can plan. And this is need a kind of collaboration, not only within the team of the center, of the NGOs, but also with other NGOs who are doing the same things. So I think this kind of mechanism is necessary to be anticipated.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to congratulations for Vietnamese social entrepreneurship bill. I hope it will be benefit to societies, especially NGOs and civil societies. I hope, because I don't know in the detail. From my perspective of view, as in Thailand, there are a lot of NGOs, both registered and non-registered. It's over 60,000 NGOs. And over 60,000 NGOs, just only to 26,000 of them are registered with the government. The rest is not. It's formulated as a group and claimed as a NGOs. So I hope and I think if they have a law, those who are not yet registered and running their either social activities or business should be controlled, not controlled, should be managed in the same guidance and in the same regulations if the law exists. I think this is an advantage for those registered social enterprise. Because now, if you get some profit or generate income, according to the Thai law, you have to pay 10% of the income, not 10% of the profit, net profit. It's very high. Yes, it's very high. Yes, so how come? 10% of income, not 10% of the net profit. But for the company that register as a company, they pay 30% of the net income, the net profit or net profit, not income. Yeah. So your question, if we can look in the detail of the law, I hope this law issued to be a benefit to the social enterprise. Otherwise, why they create this law for what? So I think Thailand should follow and looking for the existing law in other countries. They have a drafting committee, and then we have a first draft, second draft, I'm not sure. But they are discussing how many percent of the profit should be allowed to share among the shareholders. They have our PBSD asking who would like to put the money in as an investment and shareholders. and they will get nothing. So if they have some percentage of the profit allowed to share among the shareholders, but the big portion of that profit should be used for social development activity. That is maybe draw the attention interest from the people who are not in the society for social development.
Yes.
I perceive that social entrepreneurship not only goes to the institutions building, but it goes also to the spirit, knowledge, and ability to do something. Yesterday, I mentioned the opportunity in Indonesia about village law. In this village law, there is an opportunity that each village will have their own company, so village company owned, and we are fighting that this company should be in the form of cooperatives. And what kind of cooperatives? This is something that we can form, and the cooperative is a kind of social business mechanism. So instead of we are building our own institutions for social entrepreneurship, so we try to influence in Indonesia 74,000 villages. So the opportunity is there. And we decided that this village, company-owned village, is a promoter of startup groups, is microfinance promoter, is a production and marketing promoter and development, is rural technology providers, etc., etc. So we are not necessary to have many unit of organization, but we can influence and make it occur in so many structure in the country. And every country has various opportunities.
Yes, Dr. Hanay.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. In the Philippines, because you were asking about the situation of NGOs here also, and their attitude towards social entrepreneurship. Many NGOs here are interested in social entrepreneurship because of the problem of sustainability. Sustainability in different levels. One is sustainability of their own institutions. The other is the sustainability of programs and projects on the ground. And then the sustainability of institutions as well as communities that they leave behind when they actually lead those communities. So NGOs now, I think, are very much interested in social entrepreneurship because of that. However, there are many barriers. The first, I think, the most important barrier is capability, because many NGOs are not used to thinking in terms of the enterprise mode and economic subsectors, because NGOs have been very strong in social, political, as well as environmental development, but in the socio-economic realm, that's been the weakest area. That's why I think in the Philippines, when we introduced social entrepreneurship as strengthening the socio-economic work in communities, so that they are, so that we're able to empower communities holistically, no? Not just socio-political, not just in the environmental management sense, but also in the socio-economic realm. Then many NGOs and civil society are supportive to social entrepreneurship. And apart from capabilities one, the other has to do with financing. Many NGOs who want to go into social entrepreneurship initiatives are finding it difficult to look for financing to actually do what they want to do in terms of social enterprise development. And of course, the third problem is an enabling environment. Right now, government is taxing even NGOs. No? If they want to do, even if they're just in, there is a disabling environment actually for NGOs to go into social enterprise development. There are no incentives also. That's why we believe that the poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship bill will do a lot to promote also the NGOs developing, not leaving what they used to do, no? But adding the component of socio-economic empowerment through social entrepreneurship with what they're doing in communities. The problem now is that when we study the high and affected areas, many of the NGOs that used to be very active are gone. The only ones that have survived are those that are into microfinance, those that are into cooperatives development, like Victo, like CARD, no? And those that have fair trade work. And I think there's a need for some synergy between social enterprises in the Philippines as well as civil society to work together in order for us to strengthen our social entrepreneurship movement. Why do I say that? For example, CARD has a big outreach, but much of their capability have to do with microfinance. Even as they're already doing many innovative strategies to start with community development. No? I think there will be a very big impact if CARD partnered with civil society organizations that do not have funding anymore. And for them to provide services that we were calling transformational services as well as social inclusion services in order to reach more clients of microfinance to have the three. No? They have transactional services, transformational services, and social inclusion services at the same time. And CARD does not need to build its capability for everything, but CARD can work with with civil society organizations that are still there, and their capabilities are still there, but they're on the verge of dying because they don't have funding anymore from the donors that used to support them. But the NGOs will also benefit from the social enterprises that have survived because they will learn about how the discipline of enterprise development and the discipline of economic development. So I think that's a very important aspect. And the last thing that I would like to share with you is that this morning when we were talking to us, not just be single enterprise development. It cannot just be single social enterprise development, but that's the reason why we introduced value chain and subsector development. So that remember the Bota Central case where we have from soil to cup, and the Kennemer case where you have cooperation in the whole value chain. Those are the kinds of and the Kennemer was talking about maybe 50,000 farmers in a few years. We're needing interventions that would affect thousands, millions of poor people. That's why we need to develop economic subsectors, strategic economic subsectors that actually where the poor are concentrated or could be major players, and where there's also a possibility of growth. No? So maybe we need to, while we learn from the experiences of other countries, we need to actually also understand the context, the differing context that we're in, so that we apply their lessons in ways that are useful for us. Because even in terms of the Philippines, when the Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia started the research on social enterprise, on the social entrepreneurship bill, the poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship bill, we actually got the inspiration from Korea. So the first bill that we looked at was Korea. But when we actually looked at the features of the bill, we thought that there were aspects and the context of poverty and inequality in the Philippines was so stark that it has to have different features So the poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship bill, therefore, in the Philippines, the centerpiece program is national economic subsector development in strategic economic subsectors where the poor are concentrated and could be major players and where there is potentials for growth. And in that context, that's where we support social enterprises with the poor as primary stakeholders to be the biggest players, so that they can, the biggest players therefore and partners of social enterprises will be the poor. So if the subsectors grow, the growth will benefit the social enterprises and the poor as primary stakeholders. That's the design of the National Poverty Reduction through Social Entrepreneurship Program that we have enshrined in the Poverty Reduction through Social Entrepreneurship Bill. And we're happy that Senator Aquino is actually very understanding of this concept. And we're also happy that our legislative friends from NAPCO in the lower house are actually champions of this context of development. And we hope that we are able to push this as a major strategy for poverty reduction. Because right now, our government only has 3 strategies. First is the walang mahirap kung walang anti-corruption. That's okay, but it's not enough. The second is inviting foreign direct investments for employment. But for the past years, the growth has been because of foreign direct investments, but that has not made a difference on the lives of the poor. And then the third strategy is conditional cash transfer, which is really giving money to the poor so that they can bring their children to school and also have health services effectively, but that's temporary. It's a conditional cash transfer that's not sustainable. So we believe that social entrepreneurship, the poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship bill, will enshrine a new strategy that is complementary so that the poor will really benefit from the economic development that will take place. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Peter from the Foundation for Disabled and a colleague of Loy. One of the questions a while ago was from Vietnam on how to transform NGO, traditional NGO, into a social enterprise. To me, what I heard this morning, and also based on my own experience in the Philippines, actually it doesn't have to be all happening under one entity. And I think the success of scaling up actually comes when you look at different activities with a different perspective, and it's helpful to step into that perspective. And if I do enterprising activity, I step into the perspective of enterprise, which is different from a support agency, which has a different perspective again. So to me, the learning from this morning, which supports my own experience, is that you try to build a network of different activities that support the same end goal, which is poverty reduction, or even removing poverty, getting out of poverty completely. But it's important that each activity itself is somewhat focused, and it is very important that we look at what can we possibly create in supporting activities, maybe business, maybe financing activities, and they work together as a whole. But to do it all under one entity is not really helpful, because then you're somewhere in the middle and you lose perspective, you don't see the purpose. So that's what I wanted to add, and maybe as a suggestion when you're transforming, look into those opportunities. Thank you.
Yes, I think it's very interesting discussion this time. Yesterday I mentioned that after 40 years, Bina Swadaya promote only 3,000 self-help. But when we cooperate with government institutions, private institutions, and others, then we are creating 1 million self-help. So this is the power of collaboration. Not necessarily our organization is doing everything, but let other organizations do this. For that, Bina Swadaya established Binaswada Consultancy company. Mr. Ari Primantoro is here, the director of Binaswada Consultancy. And this consultancy is in cooperation with civil society organizations, international, World Bank program whatsoever, and also the government program. Then we create and we put all the insight of what we are very concerned about social entrepreneurship, social solidarity with the people. And then it's create a better understanding and about the social impact, about the poverty alleviations, and that's become the awareness of many. And then only after that kind of what is understanding is occurred, then might be something necessary to organize a bill or so as the bill is based on the needy of the people. This is from Indonesia.
Yes, yes, sir.
Good morning, I'm Albert from National University of Singapore. Maybe first I would like to share with everybody the very confusing social enterprise landscape in Singapore. And then after that, perhaps I could direct a question at both Lisa and On regarding like the social enterprise bill and then the recently passed law on social enterprise in Vietnam. So in Singapore's context, you have a big group of relatively small social enterprises that are of the work integration model. So in Singapore, these social enterprises are actually encouraged and promoted and seed funded by the Ministry of Social and Family Development. So they target vulnerable, disadvantaged groups like single mothers, ex-prisoners, people with disabilities, people coping with mental health conditions, people recovering from drug addiction, at-risk youth. So that's one group. And most of these social enterprises actually are registered as different types of legal forms. So some are sole proprietorships, you have limited liability partnerships, private limited companies, even companies limited by guarantee. And then you have another group. These are the non-work integration social enterprises that somehow evolved organically. So some of them look at gaps in the educational system, promoting maybe financial literacy, promoting maybe environmental consciousness, social awareness, promoting civil society. So this group, they are really orphaned. Nobody cares about them. And then you have the third group. These are the cooperatives. So this group actually has been around, like some of the older co-ops are more like almost 100 years old. So the cooperatives include consumer co-ops, producer co-ops, as well as credit co-ops. And these cooperatives are regulated by the Registry of Cooperatives, which does not sit in the Ministry of Social and Family Development. They come under another ministry, which is Ministry of Community, Community Youth, and Community Culture and Youth. So you see, it is so confusing. In 2012, we had our first President's Challenge Social Enterprise Awards. I'm serving in a committee, so we decided to open up the nominations to the work integration and the non-work integration social enterprises. Last year, we had our second round of Social Enterprise Awards, and there was a big lobby group from the co-ops who insisted that we are part of the social enterprise landscape. We should be eligible to participate and to be nominated. So I think moving forward, the government agencies also do not really know what to do. That's why till now, there's no movement towards coming up with some sort of legislation because the community is so disparate and everybody is confused. Yes, so I remember in the case of Korea, the law focuses only on work integration, social enterprises.
Social service provision.
Oh, also, Then my question to Lisa and Oin is, in the case of Philippines, like the bill, and in the case of Vietnam, the employment, the entrepreneurship law, what sort of social enterprises are you targeting? Is it inclusive or very focused on poverty alleviation? Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
What?
Yes, I must say that in Vietnam now, so social enterprise, social entrepreneurship is a relatively new concept. So is it good that it's new? Because it's not good that it's new because not many people know and know such a concept, but it's good it's new that means that we can somehow lead the conversation and influence the policy discussion around the social enterprise. What is CICIP rules? We established about 5 years ago, and CICIP is the first organization to introduce the concept of social enterprise and social entrepreneurship in Vietnam. And from the very beginning, my belief is about inclusive. The social enterprise is not only focusing on the most vulnerable group, but is a social enterprise is a new approach on solution to address all the social issues, the social problem, social and environmental problem. So as I mentioned in my presentation on the first day, that it's very inclusive, and you can see it could be the NGOs, civil social organization, it could be a part of SME or micro SME as well. Because according to our study, when in 2011 we conducted a mapping study on social enterprise, and it told us that about at least about 2% of the existing SME they embedded the social value in their business. Yes. So it's many of SMEs they are operating. They employ the disadvantaged population, or they providing some good or service for the unmanaged market. So that is why in the total we are not like excluded or have very narrow definition. We try to have very inclusive definition of social enterprise. So now our mission for CICIP mission now is to inspire, connect and empower people to address the social issue through the more sustainable and entrepreneurship way. So that is what we are trying to do now. So it's inclusive, and it could be social enterprise working in many different sectors. Poverty reduction in the context of Vietnam is still a major, it's a big topic, and it's a still can categorize as a first social problem that we are aiming at. But we also social enterprise and also working on another issues like climate change or waste management, or about the urban development, whatever. So it could be that is what we are trying to do.
Actually, in terms of the Philippines, when we had the stakeholders consultations regarding the law, there were many problems about definition, because everything is a social enterprise. But when we started to talk about what is the gravest social problem in the Philippines, and we agreed it was poverty and inequality. So we said, let's focus on making government support a law that would enable social enterprises that engage the poor and empower the poor so that poverty and inequality can be addressed. So that was a general agreement. So in terms of the bill, you would see that the focus is supporting social enterprises with the poor as primary stakeholders. That's in the definition of social enterprise. It will not include all types of social enterprises. It will focus on supporting social enterprises with the poor as primary stakeholders as major actors and partners in economic subsector development, in strategic economic subsectors, so that the impact can be big. But in terms of types of SEPs, we have discovered in our research that there are at least 5 types. The first is what we call social mission-driven microfinance institutions. So it's not all microfinance institutions, but microfinance institutions like CARD that are driven by their social mission. Because there are some microfinance institutions that are just there for mainly profit and making themselves sustainable. But so there are a number of there are many microfinance institutions in the Philippines, I think, that are social mission driven. The second is social cooperatives. Social cooperatives are cooperative in form, but their members, majority of their members, or a significant part of their members are from the poor, and they have dedicated programs towards their poor members. And then so there are many co-ops in the Philippines, but for example, when we studied the Victo membership in the Visayas, we found out that it's not all the Victo members, for example, will pass as social cooperatives, but some of them, or a number of them, a big number of them would be. And then the third type are what we call trading development organizations. These are the NGO-initiated social enterprises that are now doing market development and trading in support of their partners, or farmers, fishers, indigenous communities, persons with disability, and all that. But a special type of trading development organizations is the fourth type, which is fair trade organizations. And the reason why we segregate them as a different type is because they have very strict fair trade principles that are 10. I think Christine explained that very well. They have a certification system and all that. And then the fifth type are new generation social enterprises like Ana Meloto Wilkes' Gandang Kalikasan, Human Nature, which you will see for those of you going on exposure in the north of Manila. You will see them. And the social enterprise of Mark Ruiz, or Rise to Riches, as Senator Aquino was talking about. These are new generation social enterprises. They're owned by professionals who are driven by their social mission to help the poor. But many of them take the form of for-profit companies. But then they actually have many innovative ways of redistributing their profits to the poor. Like in the case of Ana Meloto, paying their workers 750 at a time that minimum wage in the Philippines is 450 pesos. So we believe that it's when we unify all these actors in a concerted effort towards poverty reduction and addressing inequality that we could address poverty and inequality effectively. Thank you.
I would like to answer the question of my colleague from Singapore University. And he should like to know that whether the SE or NGO in Vietnam now they still aim at the poverty reduction or not. So I think there are different pictures because, as you know, Vietnam now we share that we are a middle income country in terms of very official announcement. But in my organization view, we have the understanding that still have the structural poverty in terms of isolation, inconfidence, and lack of access to their ownership in terms of land rights. So in my organization field, because we work with the grassroots communities, so still have the poor or the poverty there. But if you assess with the nationwide, so we are middle income. So it's create a lot of difficulties for our NGOs because a lot of donors' policies they cannot support with this kind of middle income countries. So it's very difficult to frankly share what is our real targets or our real beneficiaries in Vietnam in terms of NGO SMEs. But in our very practical society, so we are still aiming at poverty reduction in terms of our own concept of poverty. Thank you.
Yeah, I will address my question to Sir. You have presented a model, the triangulate model on promoting ISEA. So we have the market, we have the community enterprises, we have the ISEA promotion institution. Now we are facing with challenge of sustaining this ISEA promotion institution, at the same time sustaining these community enterprises. So we use social enterprises. My question is, you have done that for the last for how many years? How are you able to minimize duplication of functions? I mean, selecting areas where maybe you will be competing with the same community enterprises where you are assisting. So how would you minimize that? Because naturally, if I am in the NGO foundation, I would suppose that I would select those viable social enterprises that maybe it can also be undertaken by the community enterprise which I assist.
As far as I understand your questions, so yes, I propose a model, tripartite model. This consists of three major organizations. The people in the village, the communities itself, they have a lot of problems and they are incapabilities to tackle with the population. So we need the leaders, the stronger, to help them. But not only to help them in terms of the money, donation only, but we would like them to involve in the communities by the big companies. They have financials enough to help. But who will be the mediator, the facilitators? So I propose NGO to be a facilitators, link between the companies and the villagers itself. Yes. So the point is they have to sit together, both the villagers, companies, representatives, and the facilitators, discussing about the problems in that area. So you can choose any area. We are not limited into this area, but also the other areas that they choose. And they sit together and come up with the problems and explore ways how to solve the problems and making into a project. Those projects will be implemented by the villager itself, but the companies and the facilitators given them a technical assistance, financial assistance. So by this way, it means that the villager itself will be sustainable because of they have input from outside and they start to run a small business, and in the long run they will stand by our own feet. That is the model I propose. That's already done in Thailand for many years. It proves that it's worked well. And the companies who adopt the village, helping the village, what do they benefit? They benefit by having their image better. Better image, because they help the underprivileged. This is different from advertising. The advertising, you would like to advertise your products. It's good or bad, we don't know it. But they take just only the best, the good point. Yes. But here, it's just very have a very clear incident, conflict that it happens in the village. So they take that outcome to spread all over as image building of the company. Yes, but I don't know, in the Philippines, you have a lot of civil societies, almost every barangay. So the barangay can join hands with the NGOs and dealing with companies. Big companies maybe can adopt 10-20 barangays. It depends. This is a kind of helping the privileged, other privileged people. If the law, social entrepreneurship is not yet exists. Please.
Yeah, just a
Quick follow.
progress that my real question really is to how to minimize prevent the competition between the self-help promotion studies, ISEA promotion institution and the community enterprises itself, because definitely the foundation would go to business. Ideally, it would complement the business of the community enterprises which it is assisting, but maybe how would you minimize a duplication function?
Their own business as a social enterprise. So it is a guarantee that they have a source of fund to support their management costs. But the societies that they are working with, they have more small enterprise in the village. It means that in the long run, it is not to depend on the NGO who are working in that village. Presently, most of the NGOs getting the funding from various sources and then giving the money to the village. The villages are very big. They are look like a beggar, waiting for money from the outside. They spend all, and how can they get additional money? No. But we are giving them technical assistance and start up some small business, and then one day in the future they will get bigger and they can start growing. It's not only giving them an equipment to catch the fish. Firstly, we give them a fish, then the fish finish nothing to eat. We give them equipment to catch the fish. And now it's not enough because its natural resources are very limited and less. So we have to give them a knowledge and technical assistance how to raise fish more. If they raise more fish, it means that they will have food to eat forever.